Hello everybody, welcome to the tutorial The Famous Bolero in its English version on lyrics by Joe Davis in 1948, Perhaps, written by the great Cuban composer Osvaldo Fares in 1947 under the original title Quizás. The original version is also available on my channel to add the lyrics if you want to follow, since the song is quite short and as it is a title that has traveled the world. It exists in many other languages. So if it's yours, don't hesitate to adapt the text. The structure of the verses and the bridge are always the same. I modified the original tone of A minor, first because it's way too high for me, but to find a good compromise so that it's just as easy. I resolved to present it to you in D minor, singing the verses in the throat voice and the chorus in the chest voice, which has a double advantage of not damaging my voice first, is important, and thus of avoiding having to use the transmission key of the digital piano. So I recommend that you always read the description of everything I offer you on my channel to check well what is the value of the transmission key and to apply if it's necessary. Naturally, if it's at zero, symbolized by the two letters K and T, key transpose, means that there is nothing to modify. Today, for example, is zero. Of course, nothing prevents you from increasing or decreasing the internal transposition of your keyboard if this one is not adjusted to your voice. It's a question of vocal comfort. It may be digital in your piano. It's half mechanics. You see this is natural position. You have 6 semitone below available and 6 semitone to rise the keyboard or to get lower for to up. So on each half tone, okay, it's just only a small indication. So you read your book and you find in the transposition where it is and you find it. But today you don't need a zero. Okay. So in the last word you will find another video under the title guide to help you with the general understanding of the song. So let's start to the first. So what I suggest just before is to play all the chords flat and in ballad, that you for the very beginners, and then in a second time if you're a little bit upgrade advanced, we're gonna make the Latin rhythm like this. You won't admit you love me, and so oh I'm ever. Okay, if you're a little bit advanced, but we can play, it will be really nice also to play flat. Okay, if you're really beginners, and then you upgrade by yourself. Okay, so we start by one hand or two hands on both hands. We're on the key of D, so let me give you the key of the D minor. So let me give you the scale: 1 2 3 4 5 6 major 7 root. We of course I'm talking in natural scale and in degrees, of course. 1 2 3 4 5 6 degrees, major 7 and root. Let me give you a trick just before what you recognize and make very easy to where is what you make the difference between the major 7 and the 7. Okay, you will always find your semitone below the root, the major 7, and semitone below the major 7, the 7. Why? Because root, third major, fifth or minor, not important. The third major or minor is not important. The 7 is from the fifth major, 1 2 3 semitone above is a third minor dominant, and 1 2 3 4 semitone above it's a major. So D minor, for example, major 7, D minor 7, okay? That the 7 dominant, that the minor third, okay? And of course, it's work on all the tonalities. It will be not a trick if it doesn't work. So, for example, in the C, 1 2 3 4 5 6, major 7 and root third, fifth, C major 7, C7 semitone below, you see? And then after you reverse all the chord all you want, okay? But That the 7, a semitone below. You see, it's a trick, very important to know that. It's universal. I mean, it's not only for all my tutorials that you can find on my channel, but it's very important to recognize that. Okay, let's start. We are in the key of D minor. There are three possibilities in the 3 scale. The first, the natural scale in D minor, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, major 7 root. Why? Because it's B flat. Because the D minor is a relative minor of F. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, major 7 root. Okay? So it's normal to find a B flat. Okay? So we have a second possibilities. It's a harmonic scale. It's a little bit exotic. You see? So we have a B flat and a D flat. So, and that we're going to use the melodic scale. That's the scale that we're going to use. That's the third one. Okay? With a D flat. Okay, so it's normal to find this famous D flat in the first introduction. Okay, so you can play just one hand or both hands. You won't admit you love me, like this, or like this. You won't admit you love me, or like this. You won't admit you love me. You decide, or just one hand if you can. Okay, but you can train in. Yeah, you won't admit you love me. Okay, and then you sing on the you won't admit you love me. So we have A, B, D flat, D, E, F, D, and we fall, boom, we're landing on the D minor 7. So D minor 7 roots, sun minor 5th and 7th. It's just only a reverse, in inversion. The D is coming on the top, the third minor on the top, you see? Bam, bam, bam. That's always D minor, okay, just only in inversion, okay. So we're going to use this one. So we have A, C, D, and F. So again, from the start, you won't admit you love me. So first in ballad, okay, without, because we have 3 possibilities, and I show you that just after, okay. It's a chromatic descending scale. We'll see that just after. But first, very flat. You won't admit you love me, D minor 7. And so, G minor 7. Scale of G, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, major 7 root. Root, sun minor, 5th and 7. The root is coming in the top. So B flat, D, F, and G. And we play the root, of course, with our left hand, okay? And so, A7, scale of A, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, major 7 root. Root 3rd, 5th, 7. You see what is important to make the difference just before? Because the 7 is just a semitone below the major 7 and semitone below to the root. Okay? So A7. Oh, I'm ever, and D minor 7 again. To know G minor 7 again. Okay, you know. You A7 again, you always tell me D minor 7, perhaps D minor 7, perhaps. The A7, what I suggest is to play like this, because with the root is make a modification harmonic, you see. You don't need, you can of course play again the root, but we are playing in the both time. It's not, well, what is more interesting is to put the G, the 7 on the bottom like this. Okay, G, B flat, D flat, sorry, and E. Perhaps, and to play the D minor like this. Why? Because you can use this small chromatic descending scale. Okay. So again from the start, you won't admit you love me, and so, oh, I am ever to know. You always tell me, perhaps, perhaps, perhaps. So, and now there's another option. If you want to try, you have 3 possibilities: outside, in the middle, and to make a chromatic descending scale, and outside of this way. Okay. So the right. So outside first. from the D minor, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so D flat, C, B. Inside with we're going to use the reverse. Okay, from this position, inside D flat, C, B, and outside the D minor. Okay, D flat, C, and B, and you don't change the F and the A because you see that the third minor and the fifth. Okay, bam, 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 bam. So 3 possibilities. This one, bam, bam, bam. This one, or this one. It's always for to make that a descending chromatic. Okay. We try. Okay, not we try. We're gonna make you do it. You won't love me, you love me. 1, 2, 3, 4. In the middle, like this. And so G minor, A7. Oh, I'm ever again in the middle. To know A7. You remember that the scale of D, natural scale of D minor. Now tell me 1, 2, 3, 4 outside with the right. Okay, and then perhaps in the middle, perhaps A7, perhaps, and now outside for this way. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so now in time. You won't admit you love me. 1, 2, 3, 4, and so. Oh, I'm ever 2, 3, 4 to know. You always tell me. Perhaps, 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 and 2, 3, 4, and we resolve by a B flat 7, and we're descending a semitone or half tone to A7. So scale of B flat, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 major 7 root, and major 5th, and 7. You see, semitone below to the B flat, 1 tone below, in fact, to the root, the B flat. Okay, so we have B flat, D, F, and A flat. Okay, and let's have a look. We're descending a semitone everything. The B flat to the A, B flat right hand, the D to the D flat, the F to the E, and the F flat to the G. Like this, bam, bam, from the B flat 7 to the A7. Okay. So second verse, okay, it will be exactly the same chords. A million times I've asked, oh, one hand, you see, you do, it's option. Oh, a million times I've asked you, flat or bam, 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 okay, and then just flat or just flat. I asked you over D minor 7, the melody is inside the chords, okay. You can do that if you want, okay, it's a fancy fantasy. Again, you only answer 2, 3, 4, but if you don't want to do that, you say, and then I ask you over again, you only answer, you see? Can stay like this, perhaps, but it's not really interesting because you stay a long time on this position. More interesting to use this one, and then perhaps, okay, A7, perhaps, bam, bam, bam. Okay. So I think you understand. This is only between the both, all exactly the same chord on the two verses. And now we have the small bridge, okay? If you can make your mind up, but you can stay just only on the chord if you want. That the A7, see? That the third major on the top. We keep the 5th in place and the 7, and we play the root with our left hand. Okay? So, you won't admit you, no, if you can make your mind up, we'll never get started. 6 root, third major, and 6, and we resolve with just only with the root and the third major. Say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have D, F sharp, and B, and then you resolve just with it. You can put the fifth if you want, but because the melody and okay, get started. Sorry, not end up. Started. Okay, started. So again, if you can make your sorry, yes, we are on the. If you make mistake, mind will never get started. And again, and I don't wanna wind up A7 again, being parted, broken hearted. So now if you want just to play the chord, you didn't have to make the melody, just only to help. If you can make your mind up, we'll never get started. And you play the ballad like this. And I don't wanna wind up being parted, broken hearted. Always melody if you want. If you make your mind up, we'll never get started. And I don't wanna wind up being parted, broken hearted. You see, and now we're on the. I'm going to use now the shed voice. Okay. So what I mean, I'm descending because I can sing like this. If you can make your mind up, we'll never get started. So I have descending from the throat voice to the chest voice. You see, this is normal because I told you if I can propose you very easy. I can sing everything on every tones, of course. So so in a chest voice, it would be really more interesting for me. But you can change the tonalities, of course. So and then we have the last verses. So if you really love me, D minor 7, say yes, G minor 7, A7. But if you don't, dear, D minor 7, confess, G minor 7, A7. And please don't tell me 2, 3, 4, perhaps D minor 7, perhaps A7, perhaps D minor 7 again. And then if you want to start again this the song, you start again. You won't admit you love me. Or if you want to finish, or use another language in Spanish or in French or in Finnish, if you find in Finnish, or I don't know. It's an example. I think she exists in Japanese, but in Japanese, completely lost. In Finnish also too. So you can use that, and if you want to finish now, perhaps D F with B flat 7, perhaps A7, perhaps, and you can finish with a D minor 5th, major 7 and 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, major 7, root and 9. You can tell me yes, but it's also second. Yes, but it's an extension. So we say D minor, major 7 and 9, like this, with a root. You can finish like this and do that if you want, or with an arpège. That's up to you. It's option. I give you a lot of option, and you decide to appropriate the song. So now let me start again, sing for you again from the start, very flat, without the descending chromatic, and then we play again with a chromatic, okay, descending scale, okay. So you won't admit you love me as simply that I can, and so oh I'm ever to know. You always tell me perhaps, perhaps, perhaps. One, two, a million times I've asked you, and then I ask you over again. You only answer perhaps, perhaps, perhaps. You can have this chromatic descending or not, if you can make your mind, so without nothing, okay, mind up, we'll never get started, and I don't wanna wind up being parted, broken hearted. So if you really love me, D minor 7, okay, say yes. But if you don't, dear, confess, and please don't tell me perhaps, 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 perhaps. And now with the chromatic descending, okay, scale. You won't admit you love me, and so oh I'm ever to know. You always tell me perhaps, perhaps, perhaps. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. A million times I've asked you, 2, 3, 4, and then I asked you over, 2, 3, 4 again. You only answer 3, 4, perhaps, perhaps, perhaps. 2, 3, 4. If you can make your mind up, we'll never get started, and I don't wanna wind up being parted, broken hearted. So if you really love me, say yes. But if you don't, dear, 2, 3, 4, confess, and please don't tell me perhaps, 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 3, 4, perhaps, perhaps, perhaps. Okay. Bam, bam, okay, bam. But if you are on the octave up, would be much better. So and now we talk about. I think you have all the tools for to make a beautiful ballad, and then we talk about with if you're a little bit advanced to how to articulate the D minor, all the song. What I suggest is to play all the song flat like this exactly, and I give you the key. Okay, the rule is to play the root and the fifth. Where the fifth is not important, major mode or minor mode, like this. Where is the fifth on the D? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the major, on the minor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You see, it's not important, major or minor. So what is important is the root and the fifth. So we keep the root in place and the fifth is reverse like this. Okay, so first we get bum that. So I try to avoid these two fingers because you have really good point of view from the top, and then I try to do everything, and I suggest to carry on all the song like this. You won't admit you love me, and you decide the beat. Okay, like this. For example, you won't admit you love me, more slowly you see. And and I give you the name of the chord, and I'm waiting on all the beats, of course, for the rhythm, and then we have time. It's a tutorial, and I have the time to give you the name of the two notes, because you didn't have to find where is the fifth on all the chords. It will be more easy for you. You see on visual position, and the name of the chord again. It was very good rehearsal. And then we carry on like this, okay? And then we see after in the last part, okay? If you're a little bit advanced again, more. So again, you won't admit you love me, pop, D minor 7. We play D and A, and so on the G minor 7, A, G, and D. A7. We have A and E. Oh, I'm ever D minor 7, but that D and A is nothing changed. To know G minor 7, nothing changed. It's G and D. On A7, that's A and E. You always tell me D minor 7 that the D and A. Perhaps on A7, A with E. Perhaps. But if it's too hard, you do that just only that. B flat 7, A7. Okay, so you get the bam 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 bam, or bam 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 bam. But if it's too hard, you stay like this, okay, the D minor reverse. Okay. Second verse, okay. A million times I've asked you, pop, pum, 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 and then I asked you over the D minor 7. That's exactly the same chords. Again, G and D, okay. On A7, A with E, you only answer D minor 7, the D and A, perhaps. On A, that's A and E, perhaps. On the bridge, and if you can make your mind up, A7, that A and E, we never get started. D and A was on the D6 and D, and I don't wanna wind up again. A7, we have A and E, being parted, broken hearted. So last verse. So if you really love me, pop, pum, 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 you see D minor 7, the D and A, okay. Say yes, G and D on the G minor 7, A7, A with E. But if you don't, then D minor 7, D and A, confess, G minor 7, A7, A with E, and please don't tell me D minor 7, perhaps D minor 7, okay, D with A again, perhaps A7, A with E, perhaps D minor, and A, perhaps, okay, B flat 7, B flat 7, A7, perhaps, and you're finishing by, it's always the same thing, with D minor major 7, 9, okay. So, or if you want to finish like this, you finish, and if you want to start again, okay, you won't admit you love me. So, and now we talk about the last part with the chromatic descending. So I didn't have time. If you advance at this point. I think you have you don't need I give you again the name of, because it will be exactly the same thing. We just see how to articulate in the middle, okay, outside when it's outside and when it's outside this way, okay. So again, from the start, you won't admit you love me, ba-da-dum-ba-dum-bum-bum. So ba-da-dum-ba-dum-bum-bum, okay. Again, you won't admit you love me, ba-da-bum-ba-bum-bum-bum. And so, oh, I'm ever bum 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 in the middle, okay, to know. You always tell, is that on the scale of D minor? Tell me outside. What is it? What is interesting? Because we are nothing changed the chord, but from this way to outside to in the middle. Say perhaps, sorry, perhaps A7, perhaps, and now outside this way. Again. From the start, you won't admit you love me, da-da bum 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 bum. And so G minor 7, A7, oh, I am ever in the middle, to know. G minor 7, you always take me outside and right, perhaps one outside on the bottom, okay, at the left. 1, 2, second verse. A million times I've asked you, ba-da-da, bum-ba-da-bum-ba-bum-bum-bum, okay, and then G minor 7, A7, I asked you over, bum-bum-bum-bum, again, you only answer outside, perhaps, bamba, outside the left. If you can make your mind up, we'll never get started. And I don't wanna wind up being parted, broken hearted. So if you really love me in the middle, say yes. But if you don't, in the middle also again, confess. And please don't tell me outside, perhaps one outside the left, perhaps, or like this, and or here and here. But if you're gonna start again, and then tell me by the by, perhaps, 1, 2, a million times I've asked you, and then I asked you over, again. You only answer by the perhaps, if you can make your mind up, we'll never get started. And I don't wanna wind up being parted, broken hearted. So if you really love me, say yes. But if you don't, confess. And please don't tell me, perhaps, That's it, my friend. We get it. It's a wrap. So thank you very much for your attention. I think you have all the tools for to make a beautiful song. and you have a lot of options. And I didn't find you because it's a lot of bread and milk bread, but this is for beginners. A lot of options, and don't forget to play slowly, step by step. Huh? You won't admit you love me. In ballad, it's so beautiful also too. And so, oh, I'm never to know. You always tell me, perhaps, 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 bye bye, and again. So you see, it's so beautiful also in ballad. So thank you very much for your passion, your fidelity, your attention, and if you explore, if you had the curiosity to explore my channel, you will discovering my passion for Carlos Tom Jobim, of course. We have a big playlist of Latin songs. This one is inside, of course, and maybe my big love for Michel Legrand. That I've done a lot of tutorials, and I try to make my best for as simply as I can for to make very easily for beginners. So, but sometimes I can't sing everything, of course. I mean, in the tonality, I do my maximum, but sometimes I need to use the transposition key, and the numeric piano as they are done for that. Okay, we should use the transposition key, and we can have a lot of pleasure with that. Okay, because of course I can play on all tonalities, but that's not the question. We are in here for the fun. We didn't make a show. Okay, it's just only for the family, for yourself. So thank you very much, and I hope to see you again. And don't forget, it's one word: enjoy. Thank you. Bye bye. See you again.